I'm David Lowe, the Automotive Sales Coach, and welcome to today's sales tip. Listen, today's sales tip is going to help you sell more cars. In fact, all our tips and all our training on the Excellence Roadmap is designed what? To help you close a higher percentage of your deals, hold on to a fair profit, and do it in a way that creates an excited, loyal, lifetime customer and a way that you can be proud, right? So today's sales tip is going to help us close people that it seems like we can't close because what they're telling us they want, we can't do. Now, so many times, salesmen and dealers will tell the customer, I can't do that, I can't do that. We should never tell anyone what we can't do. We should always tell them what we can do. This is incredibly important. And I'll give you an example. I'm training a BDC department. I got a gal, she's awesome, and she schedules service appointments, right? And she was struggling scheduling them because she has a lot of time slots filled. And one of the buyers, service buyers, called and said, I'd like to get my car in there tomorrow at 10:30. And she used to automatically say what? I'm sorry, can't get you in at 10:30. She told them what she couldn't do, right? So we trained her to do it better. The customer said, I want to get my car at 10:30. She should say, rock and roll, thank you so much. We appreciate your business. Let's get you scheduled in right away. Listen, we have at 11 o'clock and at 12 o'clock tomorrow. Which one works best for you? You see, by simply changing from what we don't have to what we do have, you will increase your closing percentage. Now let's talk about the selling cars. So many times the customer says they want something and we decide we can't give them to them. So let me give you 4 questions you can internalize to help you turn this around and close this deal today. So first one is, what does the buyer say they want? I want this, right? And a lot of times what they say they want could be a product, but it could also be some financial details. I want this car and here's what I want to do financially. So what does the buyer say they want? Number 2, can I give it to them? So often we can't give what our buyers request, right? It just does, the math doesn't work and the market doesn't support it. They will ask for things they know they can't get, or they'll ask for things that are impossible due to math in the market, right? So what do they say they want and can I give it to them? Now, if you can't give it to them, question 3 is so important. What can I give them? How important is that? What can I do for them? Instead of just saying, no, I can't do that, you got to come up with what you can do for them, and step 4 is where you sell it. How do I make it work for them? Does that make sense? We had a buyer in the other day, and let's talk about selling now. Buyer in the other day was looking at a Durango. They had a small Cherokee, and they had 3 kids. They needed more room, and they thought they needed a 3rd seat, so they chose a Durango, which, by the way, in our lease portfolio, Dodge Chrysler stores, not really the most aggressive lease out there, right? So they were paying $4.25 a month. They would go up to $550, and the Durango couldn't be any lower than $650. And those are the approximate numbers, right? And so we kept trying to close this buyer on this car, and they left. They didn't buy. Why? What they said they wanted to do, we couldn't do for them. Stop, right? Now, what if we said, what can we do? Now, what can we do is not just putting a different financial package together, because that may not even get you there. What cars can we offer them for the max payment that they said they can afford? Are there cars that will satisfy them? Now, the salesman said, well, we don't have other ones with 3rd seat. But is it really a 3rd seat? You see, they left in an old car with no 3rd seat, and it's small. So they're driving around a car that doesn't work for them. Would a Grand Cherokee have worked? Doesn't have a 3rd row seat, but is it way bigger than what they're driving? Absolutely. And so if we come, what can I do for them? Maybe I can get a Grand Cherokee to $550. How do I make it work for them? I sell them based on my relationship and trust I built. Say, listen, obviously this Durango is the market and the math doesn't work on this Durango, but don't worry about it. I've got a car that will work for you. And you pull that car up and you take them out and you show them and you say, although it doesn't have a 3rd seat, what you really need is more room, don't you? Look how much wider this back seat is and look at the storage you have in the back. I think you can get a lot more room and keep your payment where you're thinking about in this car, and I think this will work great for your family. And only 2 things can happen from that. One, well, actually, I guess there's 3. One is they say, hey, let's drive it, right? And they consider it. 2 is they say, I'd rather pay more for the Durango, and you close that deal. 3rd, they could leave without buying, but they were already doing that, weren't they? So it gave you 2 more shots at making this deal. Listen, Selling is not about telling buyers what you can't do. It's about telling them what you can do and show them how it works for them. I'd want you to think through some of the deals that have walked and you haven't sold. Could these 4 questions have helped you? I guarantee they could. Let me summarize them one more time before we close. What does the buyer say they want? Can I give it to them? If not, what can I give them? Number 4, how can I make it work for them, right? I'm David Lowe, the Automotive Sales Coach. Good selling.